this is another thing that confuse a lot of students. We have frame and we have group. Everything almost looks the same. You guess not taken, but there are some properties that we not find when you are using frame and you are using constraint. So why should we use frame in Figma, or why frame? So with frame we have the ability to use constraint. Okay, we have these two things. This is designed with a frame. Immediately you click a frame, you see there will be a label at the top, and this is a group. There is nothing at the top. Okay, with frame we have constraint. Okay, everything here is made of frame. Everything here is built inside a frame. So you will see we have the constraint. You can set constraint to everything we have inside a frame, but inside a group there's nothing like that. You can't set constraint. So in this layers panel, in this design section, there is no constraint. That's number one thing. Number two is clip content. Okay, with this now we'll be having clip content with constraint. So with group there's nothing of such. So, and for those that have been following, you understand what clip content is. So if you group something, you can't have that picture of clip content. So clip content that you will cut, our phone or mobile something have a specific size, and if anything is excess going out, there's possibility we have that thing will still be there. And when we are talking about prototype, we understand the essence of the clip content, but you can't have that pictures when you are using group. And we have nested constraint. So you having constraint inside constraint, constraint inside constraint, and we having ignoring click. So to ignore constraint, this is one of the problems we have with constraint. So if this thing, let me take this to this particular side. If I try to, you see that some things are moving based on the constraint we have inside, and some things are not moving. And probably if I just want to increase this particular thing, just press Ctrl and drag. So you'll be able to leave every object inside without them following. We don't need them at that particular time. We want to add any other thing to your design. So to be able to ignore constraint, if you take something to this side, everything will be messed up, and you want to introduce another thing to this particular side, you probably just hold on Ctrl to be able to ignore the constraint. So that is that about constraint. And if we look at group and constraint, so if you want a responsive design, you have to design them inside the frame instead of giving everything inside the group, or designing frame and grouping everything together. So if you check the layers panel, this is design. Every frame that has been designed in that particular layers. So these are the symbol for frame. You can see all these are designed with frame, and these are the symbol for group. You can see them here. All these are group, and so frame can be picked from the use panel. We have that here is frame, and we have grouping. There is no symbol, there is no tool directly for group. It's that you press Ctrl G and you can only group frame. You can only group shapes, grouping everything we have inside Figma. You can put everything inside the group, and that also be fine. And also we're having auto layout and constraint. So the reason why I'm having this, it will be there before, but someone asked in our last section that what, let me quickly go and check that zoom something. So someone asks, let me check the chat that day, let me check the okay. So someone asks that, is there any clear difference between constraint and auto layout? Okay, so constraint and auto layout, let me use card with design as an example. Okay, before I make it, let me turn it to a component first. Turn it to a component. So we designed the card with auto layout. I expect us to understand that. And now let me turn the card into a frame. So let me turn the card to frame. So I want to remove the auto layout. The card is now, you can see there is no more auto layout. We have the symbol of frame. We don't have auto layout symbol. Okay, with this now, check the one with auto layout. This one is designed with auto layout. As you can we know from what we designed before that everything is definitely responsive to whatever end we want this to be. And we notice that this particular indicator here is also responsive, but there are things that you can't do them with constraint. So the major difference is now this is free. Okay, let's set the constraint as well. This text inside Let's set this to left and right. This will be okay. This is correct. This should be top and bottom. Okay, this is correct. This should be top and left. So bottom and left. This left, and this should be bottom and left. Okay. Now let's test how responsive this should be. With this, okay, anyone that noticed will see that this is a little bit responsive. We have our arrow is moving, we have the text is moving, but there are some things that are not changing. We have a fixed this indicator is fixed and our button is also fixed. So whenever you want something to be dynamic, whenever you want something to be responsive and dynamic, that's when we need auto layout. Whenever I want something to be fixed and responsive, that's when we're going to be using constraint. Now let me use this thing as an example, as the final example with constraint. One of the screen we designed in our VP design app. So with this, let me take this out, and then let me add auto layout to some of these. So all of this now, I have to add auto layout. Let me add auto layout to this. Okay, now because I've added auto layout, immediately I added another. Let me duplicate the last one. You see, it will maintain because it's inside auto layout. Now let me keep adding. If this thing inside, okay, you see, because this thing is inside auto layout. So if I delete any part of this thing, let me pick maybe this file. If I delete it, every other thing we adjust. Every other thing we adjust. Okay. If I delete another one, every other thing we adjust. They will shift. They will keep maintaining that parent auto layout. So the parent will know that something inside, which I will call the child, has already been deleted. So it will maintain the remaining size of the other children. Okay. If I added another thing, so instead of me increasing everything by myself, so it will automatically knows that something has happened to the children. You see, the width of the parent, which is the auto layout, will increase automatically. Now let me remove the auto layout. Now let me put this inside a frame, selecting everything, all the notifications. So now I've select everything and I will add a frame. The frame selection. Okay. Now let me set the constraint. Left and right, top and bottom. Okay, maybe how bigger will work. So now let me delete one. You see, so because immediately, you know, notification will keep increasing. You can't design the notification to be fixed something. So immediately you delete, nothing will adjust. The frame will still remain at that particular size. Let me select. You see, the frame will still remain there. Even if you delete another one, the frame will not adjust. So the parent frame, which is this one, will never understand that something is happening inside, but frame only works for the outside, which is the parent. Works when you are adjusting stuff like this. This is when the frame works. Although I did not set the proper constraint for this, so frame only work with the outside, which is the parent frame, leaving what is inside. But auto layout will respond to whatever is inside and the outside. So that's just the difference. So whenever you need something to be dynamic, you use constraint, you use auto layout. Whenever you need something to be responsive and maybe you probably fix something like this tab bar, nobody will delete, nobody will adjust, or nobody will change this in a design when you design it. So no, there is no need of using probably auto layout for this. If you set it as a frame, it will work perfectly. So no need of disturbing yourself, putting all of this in auto layout. Nobody will delete it and it will not increase. So this can be designed with constraint, and you set the constraint properly and you do your adjustment in and out, and it's going to work perfectly. And we have something here as responsive design and adaptive design. So this is what we explain constraint and auto layout properly. Responsive design and adaptive design. Let me log in, let me check my Twitter. Use it as an example. So let me log into the website and show us the responsive, because I mentioned this a lot when in the last class. Okay, this is my Twitter home page. So what I want to show us here is that So I'll keep reducing this web page to show us how the difference between responsive and when something is adaptive. Okay, now you see the design is responsive, number one, but immediately this is the desktop side. Let me take you to tablet side. So when these websites reduce to this certain level, if you log in your Twitter on your tablet, this is what you will see. And what you notice that we are only having icon at this particular space. We are not having the information or the name given to it. You only see this kind of thing on the desktop. Whenever you get to tablet, you only be seeing the icon. And notice that the length and the text inside all of this is also moving as well. That's not really out. But the ability of a design to be able to adapt and change, that's when we use constraint. And this is what you will see on the mobile version. This is the size you will see on the mobile version of Twitter. You only be seeing the icon and some other parts here will not be there. So, and for Twitter to be able to adjust to this particular level, this is the help of constraint. So when we get in properly, you'll be able to understand this very well. But I'm just introducing this to us. So just to introduce us to that, we'll still be moving on. The main difference between responsive design and adaptive design. So the ability of a design to change from one particular device to another device, from a laptop to desktop, from desktop to mobile, that's adaptive design. But responsive design is the ability of everything to be, when something is shrinking, adjusting in height, adjusting level within that particular screen. So inside the device, inside the mobile device, there is responsive design, and inside of the rest there is responsive design as well. And this is where we'll be stopping for this section, where we'll still be explaining our, when we'll be moving down to the component section. So while we'll be explaining in the next video, we'll explain the component, we'll explain better on component and its properties.